Edit audio.
What if you gave yourself permission to release everything that drained you this year and only move into the next year with things that uplift you, things that empower you, things that bring you joy? Hello, hello, and welcome back to the Be Well Sis podcast. I am your host, Dr. Cassandre Dunbar. How has life been treating you? But more importantly, how have you been treating yourself all year? This year has been short and it's been very, very long at the same time. And this episode will be just a nice little year in review. I'll be telling you guys just what are some things that I am bringing into next year with me, and what are some things that I'm like, hell no, I don't need that, and leaving in 2025. And before we even do that, I want us to just collectively just do a quick little scan, mind scan, body scan, little meditation. Like, whew, we have survived. We have survived yet another year. And my goodness, I feel like ever since 2020 for me, not 20 even 2019. No, you know what? Ever since 2018, I'm not gonna lie, it's been some times, it's been some trying times. 2020 definitely heightened that for all of us. And it's really changed the world and how we approach life. But my God, I'm so sick of living in unprecedented times. But here we are, we're making it. We are making it. As I've been looking through like the episodes that were published this year, I feel really good about the conversations that I've been able to have this year with the people that I've been able to have those conversations with. I always say this, and I genuinely mean it. I am just so grateful that I get a chance to speak to the brilliant women that I do. I've learned so much. And this podcast, even though, yes, it is work, it's work that also gives back to me. And it's just really interesting how spirit works, the universe works, however you describe it. When I feel like I'm just at a low, like in terms of my energy or even just my spirit's just not feeling great, the person that I speak to on that day literally speaks to exactly what I need to hear and what I need at that moment. And I'm just so grateful. I have had really great conversations this year. Just off the top of my head, some of the most powerful ones for me has been my episode with Ebony Janice Moore, who is the author of All Black Girls Are Activists. That book in and of itself has changed my life. It's changed the way that I see myself. It's changed the way that I see God in relation to myself. It's changed the way that I think about legacy and ancestors and just how do I approach my version of spirituality. I've said it so many times already, and I'm sorry I keep saying the same thing, but I grew up in a really religious home. And as I've been an adult, I realized that religion is one thing and spirituality and having a relationship with the creator is much different, and it's very, very personal. And I've learned that in the church, but living it and being in practice and constantly asking myself, am I doing this, or do I think this, or do I live a certain way because it's been instilled in me, or does it make sense for does it make sense for me? Is it actually my truth? And I started doing all of these exercises and about how I think and about how I approach everything, really, ever since I read that book. So having the conversation with her was just amazing. So she has been, again, just instrumental in my own personal growth. And I really feel that I have become a better version of myself just because I'm constantly asking myself all of the questions. And just the way that I show up is different based off of her work. So I'm grateful. Shout out to Ebony Janice and all of the beauty that she's put into the world. Another one of my favorite episodes, the episode featuring Alana and Samra of the She Well Read podcast. They are just a good time. So they have a podcast called the She Well Read, and it is an audio book club. They are just a good time. They have so much energy. I think they're in their 20s. So I got to, put on my little auntie hat and just like listen. And they're just a good time. So I really enjoyed them. I spent this year really trying to read books that aren't necessarily just for, my personal growth and things of that nature. Cause you get to a point where it's like, okay, enough with the self-help books. I was reading a lot of romance novels and historical fiction. So I love the conversation that we had there where we talked about different types of books. Reading is important, whether it is an audiobook or it's just reading. Reading is so important. And it's important just to figure out how we can get the information, get the knowledge, or just escape for a little bit. But we talked about like pop culture, we talked about relationships, and it was just a really lively, upbeat episode. And again, just what I needed at that time. So, outside of the work that I've been doing on the podcast, this year I surprised myself. Because I decided that I was going to do things that are a little bit different and different for me, not different for the world. They're regular things, but they're different for me. And damn it, that counts. So, for example, I had to take a look at the calendar. I just went through my calendar month by month to see what was happening in each month. And when I got to June and to July, my calendar was largely like open. And I'm so proud of myself because I try to keep myself very, very booked. And that's not good. I don't like how it feels, but it's my second nature to, if I have some time, I will fill it in with something. But this year, I was very intentional about the summer. I said, yes, I'm going to teach these summer classes. But that's all I'm going to do. I'm going to spend the majority of my day playing with the kids outside, going to the pool, going to the library with them, and just really enjoying. And I did that. I kept my calendar very, very spacious. I typically garden every year, but this year my husband built me some tall garden beds, which are so pretty. And my garden is just like the garden of my dreams. And at first, this summer was the gardening seasoning was interesting because I felt like nothing was growing because it was so hot this June. But by July, August, and right now, as I'm recording this, we are in November, and I just picked my last eggplants. I had a beautiful harvest this year. Like my eggplant, we have so much that we had to freeze eggplant. Like it was a good time. Some things like I just died and that's fine. It's trial and error. This year I just gave myself more space and that's not like me. And I'm really, really proud of myself for that. And the other thing is that I decided to start going for different opportunities again. So 2023, 2024, every opportunity, not every, but most of the opportunities that I applied for, I just did not get. So I was like, you know what? I got fatigued with no, so I got rejection fatigue. So I just did not apply for things. And this year I said, you know what, girl, if you want things, you got to go after the things. So I put on my big girl panties and I applied for some things and I got them. And I'm really, really excited about that. They have to do with like more my work life, my professional life, but I'm happy about that. It was just nice to dip my toe into the pond again and to not to be afraid of rejection. I'm trying to get away from that and trying to move on from being a scaredy cat. Because if you want the things, again, you got to go get the things, got to go after it. So I'm really, really proud of myself for that. And I don't know, what are you proud of yourself for? I know this year has been difficult for a lot of us. The job market is trash. Over 300,000 Black women alone have lost their roles. So are either unemployed or underemployed since this administration, this regime took office. So I know it has been a time for a lot of us, as well as for people that we know. So even in that, I know that there is something that you are proud of yourself for, whether it is simply maintaining and simply surviving. That is a feat in 2025. So I'd love for you to share. If you're watching on YouTube, go ahead and drop it down below in the chat. If you're listening on Spotify, there is a space for you to comment on the episode. And my DMs are always open. So on Instagram, I'm at BeWellSis_podcast. So I would love to hear what you are proud of because I like to celebrate with you. One of my favorite things to do is to peruse the internet and just celebrate people. Like if you told me that you got a new job and you loving it, I'm loving it with you. If you did anything, I just love, I don't know what it's called, but there has to be a name for when you celebrate people as if it's happening for you. Like I get the same, almost the same rush that the person is getting just by vicariously celebrating with them. So I would love to hear what you're celebrating this year. Oh, and the other thing that I'm proud of myself for is this summer, I really took my Substack serious and I launched my Substack. One of my favorite things to do as a child would be to write short stories. Were they good? Probably not. But I just love to write. And being in school and being forced to read tons of academic books and write academic type papers made me go away from my love of writing. And the Substack has been my little outlet to go back to my roots, to go back to what I really enjoy doing, and that is writing. So that was something that I've been proud of. During the summer, I was very consistent. I was putting out an article at least once a week. And since the semester started and I have less time, less bandwidth, it has slowed down. But one of the things that I'm really looking forward to in the new year is to be more disciplined in my writing. And it's kind of like a interesting conundrum because I want to write when I'm led to write, but also I do want to consistently produce. So either way, I want you to join me over on Substack. It is bewellsis.substack.com. We have the free tier and then we also have the paid tier. So if you would like to support the podcast, it is $5 a month. So literally less than a latte. But it goes a long, long way. So yeah, I've been really, really proud of just my consistency in writing and just going back to doing something that I enjoy and just getting back that muscle. Cause girl, your grammar, my grammar, not your grammar, my grammar was slipping. And I was like, oh, wow. Okay. If you don't use it, you truly do lose it. So that was something that I'm really proud of for this year as well. And speaking of Substack, one of the things that I wrote about this year was the grief of losing someone that you don't even know. So, unfortunately, this year we lost Ananda Lewis and we also lost Malcolm Jamal Warner and more recently, D'Angelo. And all three of those passings like really impacted our culture in a way. And a lot of people were collectively grieving people that they had not intimately known. And I wrote about that because I had thoughts. I think sometimes these people are like, we grow up with them. I know for me, Ananda Lewis was just that girl. And I looked up to her. I would tune in almost every day, MTV and to see what she was up to. And I guess also losing her when she was so young. She was maybe 50. And also with Malcolm Jamal Warner, literally grew up with him, watching him on The Cosby Show. He was not much older than me. I think maybe he was also in his 50s. And just not seeing them live to their elder years does something to you. Same with D'Angelo. And I also wonder, especially as I was seeing the outpouring of love for D'Angelo and how his music changed how they saw themselves or changed how they saw love and, the concept of love through his music. I wonder if these people knew just how loved they were. And I really want us to get to a place where we think about who are the people who we don't know intimately, but who impact us every day. And I want us to be very loud about that. So that way, hopefully, the person can get that message while they're still alive. I just think about, for me, I love me some Queen Latifah. I do. Queen Latifah, actually, the entire cast of Living Single they are so special to me. And I don't know how to express how they impacted me as a child, but I want them to know. And even still to this day, I look to them as kind of my aunties. Like I look to them as kin because coming home as a latchkey kid, coming home to an empty house, like they were my saving grace. Once a week, I'd put them on, and I was in a house full of my aunties. Yeah, people like them. Of course, Beyonce is one of the people that I really appreciate her art. I appreciate her work ethic. I appreciate her creativity and just how dedicated she is to her craft. When I look at her body of work now, I realize that it's very intentional. And I love that, especially as I'm becoming more intentional about everything in my life. I see that the body of work that she puts out is not just, oh, it sounds good, let's do it. There's the study of history that goes behind it, and I just really, really appreciate that. So I would love to know. I would love for you to drop who is somebody that really means something to you. That again, you don't know them intimately. They're, a superstar, they're an entertainer, but they really mean something to you, that they've impacted how you see yourself, how you see the world in some way. But yeah, so I want us to celebrate people while they're alive. And it sounds so cliche, but I really, really mean that. I just don't like the idea. For me in my personal life, I years ago I told myself that I don't want anybody, if I were to die, for them in my world, for them to not know how much they meant to me. So I might do overkill with the I love yous to the people in my life, but I really want them to know that I really love you. But I can't do that with the people that are famous. But how can we, instead of talking about things that are not as positive online, how can we show up in a way and amplify our greats who are still alive, so that they can see that they still have an audience who is still tapped in, who still appreciates them for whatever contribution they did to the arts, So that's just a thought there. As we are wrapping up, I want to share 5 things that I am leaving in 2025 because they did not serve your girl, and 5 things that I am bringing with me into 2026. And I know every year, most of us are like, new year, new me. I'm not saying it's going to be new year, new me, but I'm going to say it's going to be a new year and more me. Oh, yeah, new year, more me. I'm being more of myself, whatever that means. So, some of the things that I am leaving in 2025, and I think that most of us should also leave in 2025, are the guilt around needing help. I'm talking to you, sis. I'm talking to me too. We all need help. We all need a village. We cannot be the one who is constantly helping, but is not vulnerable enough to ask for help. Super, super important. My husband had to have some tough love when he told me that, if you are always showing up for people and you don't give them the opportunity to show up for you, then what you are doing is charity and not being in community. And he snatched my edges a little bit with that, hurt my feelings, but he's completely right. When we talk about being in community, it is not just how we can support the other person, but also how can we be supported. We lift each other up. It's not a one-way street, and it takes vulnerability to tell people, "Hey, I need help in this way, and maybe you can help me." So I'm leaving that behind. Ain't no guilt in me asking for help and needing help because I am human. The other thing that I am leaving behind is over explaining myself. If I, I'm, I'm constantly explaining, like, the no is a no. I can't right now is a can't right now. I'm not interested is that I'm not interested. And it's, no shade to the person who's on the receiving end of that. It's just that some things may not work right now. They may not be a priority right now. They may not be, they may not be, I may not have the resources right now, whether it is time, whether it is money, whatever it is, I may not have it. And the no will suffice. So I'm going to stop over explaining myself. Some things do not require an explanation. And that's that. The other thing that I am leaving in 2025 is not prioritizing the self care that is not sexy. What is that, you ask? So I am going to make a better priority of working out, of meditating, of being sure that I stay on top of all of my medical appointments. They always say that the doctor is the worst patient. So I'm gonna be better about that. So of the ways that we care for ourselves that is not sexy, meaning it's not a vacation, it's not a spa day, I will be much better at, especially as I'm getting older. It's so important to really maintain all the things, like just stay on top of it so it continues to function. So I really need to be better at that, especially my physical activity. That is usually the first thing in my self-care routine that I toss out the window whenever life gets hard. And what I need to do is to go even harder at my physical self-care whenever life gets hard, right? Cuz I hate to say it, but whenever I do spend at least an hour sweating and, putting some healthy stress on my body, I do feel better up here too. I do feel better mentally. But again, whenever things get hard, I'm gonna say, I ain't going to nobody's gym. I ain't taking a walk, but I could be better at that. So next year, I'm gonna be better. I'm saying it here, hold me accountable. And the other thing that I am leaving in 2025 is beauty trends that ignore biology. I never cared for it. There's a lot of misinformation, disinformation that occurs, especially in the wellness space, and how the wellness space really could be the damn alt-right pipeline, if we're being honest. But that's a whole nother conversation. But all the beauty trends that really aren't rooted in science and they're therefore a waste of time and money, I have done a decent job of steering clear for that, but sometimes your girl has fallen victim to the trends, and I'm gonna be better at staying on the straight and narrow. Is this scientifically sound? Yes or no? Then we'll move from there. I'll be better at that. And I'll be sharing some of that stuff too in 2026. Some of the things that I am bringing in 2026 are soft structure. I have never been somebody who is very rigid in terms of like how my days go. I typically am somebody who has a general to-do list. Can I check off the things off my to-do list? That's what matters. The time that it happens does not matter. And I used to get frustrated with myself, like, well, dang it, how come I can't wake up at 5 a.m. and, block off time for this and then block off time for that and just have a really regimented schedule? That's never been me. If I don't have to be somewhere at a specific time, your girl will not be there at that specific time. And so now I'm leaning into the fact that how I am is completely fine. Just maintain that soft structure in my day, but also maintain discipline. Because again, I am the thing on my to-do list that is first to go whenever I am overextended, either mentally or in terms of time. I will just throw myself off of that to-do list, but I'm going to create systems that feel more aligned with how I live my life and what feel better, and make it much more difficult for me to keep myself on the list and to not throw it away. And I'm going to start off with figuring out what makes more sense for me in terms of exercise. Especially as the cold months are coming up, I'm going to be less likely to go on a walk if it's like 20 degrees outside, right? So I need to build in the systems that make me more likely to succeed in my self care. The other thing is that I am going to maintain or be intentional about unapologetic joy. Again, because of the way that I am, I feel like I was raised where joy is not that important, being productive is, and that's not true. Joy is really, really important, but joy is not going to come to me. It's not going to come knocking at my door. I have to go find the joy. I have to cultivate said joy. I have to do all the things to make it more likely that I will be joyful and that I will have joy and have that peace. So that's going to be part of my daily practice. I think I've been doing better at that. I told you guys before that just taking a shower with my smell goods, spending more time on my skincare routine. Meditation has been really, really helpful. Talking to my friends more often and not isolating myself the way that I typically do whenever I'm stressed or sad or the things. So, yeah, I will continue to do that and bring that into the 2026 and even amplify it even more. I'm going to ask myself, does this bring me joy? Yes or no? If it's a no, it may not have room in my life. So, yes. And the other thing that I am bringing into 2026 is hormone health education for real bodies. So, as you guys know, your girl is in the thick of perimenopause, and I have been a straight up nerd in terms of deciphering what all is perimenopause, in terms of the effects of estrogen, not only on our reproductive system, but maybe also our cognition. So, our central nervous system, our muscles, our bones, like all of the things. I have been studying perimenopause because there really is not that much information. And so I've been compiling that, and I want to share it with you guys because I know I'm not the only one who's in the thick of it. And I also want to combat all of the misinformation, the disinformation, all of the people just talking on vibes and not science. I don't like it. So we are going to be having more scientific like talks as it relates to our bodies. Those of you who may not know, that's literally my job. I am a professor of anatomy and physiology, so I talk about the body all day, but I really want to spend time for us relearning our bodies, especially as we are entering into this new phase of our life called perimenopause. So we know what to expect and to decipher what all is happening with us. Because a lot of the times I hear my friends say, and I felt that same way, is that we don't recognize ourselves, not physically, but like just mentally, emotionally, and just how things feel in our bodies are foreign, and how to make sense of that. So yeah, that is it. I hope you guys take some time to do a quick little review of 2025 and then really be intentional and think about, what do you want to happen in 2026? And a lot of things are out of our control, absolutely. But what are some things that are in your control that you can control to make your life just a little bit more joyful, a little bit sweeter, make yourself feel a little bit better, whether it is mentally or physically, emotionally? Like, what can you do to help you? Thank you so much for a beautiful year together. I'm looking forward to another amazing year together. Thank you for rocking with me. Thank you for sharing the podcast. Thank you for commenting, DMing, following over on Substack, giving me 5-star ratings and reviews. Okay. If you haven't, please do so. But thank you for being amazing. So whether this is your first time tuning into the podcast, or if this is your 50th or 200th episode, I am grateful for you all the same. Have a beautiful rest of your holiday season, a beautiful new year, and I will see you in January. Be well, sis. Thank you for listening to this episode of Be Well, Sis. If you'd like to get in touch with us, there's a link in the show notes. Be Well Sis is hosted by me, Dr. Cassandre Dunbar, and produced by Edit Audio. Don't forget to hit follow so you never miss an episode. Until next time, be well, sis.